glass art or art glass is actually a relatively new form almost. It's been relegated to the side on the idea of like under the classification of craft a lot. And oftentimes when I tell people I'm a glass artist or I work with glass, the first image that pops into their head is I make vases or something like that, which is, that's not quite what I do. So and when they see that I actually, I'm more of a sculptor in terms of my working with glass, I really admire those who do glass blowing though. For me, I guess, in contemporary art, we're working to expand the definition of what glass means in the art context. And I think there's a lot of space to navigate there and explore further. So I think it's a very exciting place to be. And I think a lot of contemporary artists are looking more and more towards glass to see what the possibilities are within this material and medium.
I'm Raychui from Hong Kong Asia Art Class. In this video and many videos to come, we'd like to introduce you a number of international glass artists. In our channel, we hope to provide these artists a platform to talk about their journey, to share their creative process in the work that they make. Like all artists, they embedded their memory, their emotion, and their story in the art that they created. We hope you enjoy her video. And thank you for taking the time to know Art Glass.
Actually interesting. I feel like I've had an affinity with glass for a really long time, even before I knew what glass art was. So for when I was in high school, like decades ago, there was a sculpture that I wanted to make that was glass. So at that time, I didn't even know about glass sculptures, but I had this vision in my mind of a figurative sculpture of a woman emerging from the water. I haven't made this sculpture yet. And it would be made out of glass, and it would be able to refract all this light and create a scene of rebirth almost. So I guess I'm attracted to this, the aesthetic quality of glass, but also it's a bit, if it sounds a bit superficial when I say it's just aesthetic, because it also feels like it's got a spiritual quality to it that really that shines inside to bring about that aesthetic quality. So I guess it's the way it works with light, the way it has this innate sense of fragility, but also kind of like timelessness. So that's kind of the I guess qualities that I like to work with and continue with in my work.
There are certain fundamental similarities because the first stage is always about the idea and the storytelling. But in order to realize those ideas, you have to go through a technical process in order to realize it. I think that what I'd like to ask Nancy is that now your preferred medium is in glass, but did you sculpt in other mediums before arriving at glass? Because I can understand the advantages of glass over other materials.
It's really hard to stick within one lane. You kind of want to try out everything and do everything. I actually started from a painting and sketching background. So a lot of my sculpture comes from that sketching knowledge. So I often think about sculpting as sketching in the 3D. So for me, before I arrive at glass, I'm obviously sculpting in clay first to get that form that I want, and then working things out, tweaking things in the wax part, And I've recently gone into metalworking and seeing how I can use that in conversation with the glasswork. So I kind of like to continually push myself, learn new things, experiment with different materials. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but you never know until you try.
From a personal point of view, it's been extremely beneficial to me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been introduced to such a talented and up-and-coming young artist. You know,
Marketing man.
Because I am not generally in touch with this sector. So I had my preconceptions of what that was. And,
What's that?
well, preconceptions of traditional glass art are glass blowing, or maybe with art you can bend it, but I never thought about casting glass.
That's very valid, and that's why it's known, like casting is known to have like a 40% failure rate. But like I find that the longer you work with it, the more you understand the material, and you kind of reduce that, you kind of up your chances for success using different tricks and of the trade, and knowing like how the material wants to move or not move.
For the advantages of casting a glass over traditional methods, it just opens up the road so much further, opens up so many kind of possibilities. And so if I just bridge it back to another one of your art pieces, which I think again is strategically a great choice to have done it in the glass medium, are your ballet shoes. Because I can't think of a medium which can sculpturally create that as well, because the properties of glass, you have the stiffness in order to suspend that a very delicate shoe, and also to make it transparent. It tells a story, even if I didn't need you to provide the narrative. And that's what really successful art does. It speaks to people. It might not tell exactly the same story, but that is the connection it makes. And so to have all of those pieces together working in unison, you can see how it's choreographed.
Okay.
And so it's very, very clear. And it's the harmony between choosing the right medium and choosing the right subject matter. And I think that's why I think that you are a prodigious talent, because again, with your armor, it does it in a different way. Okay, and for me, it's like armor itself is kind of very interesting, because if you look at different forms of armor, it's very ornate, because in the olden times it was a way of distinguishing your status. And so, it's not just a practical thing. It's the ornamentation. It's to project a different layer onto it. And so when you cast it in glass, you see all of these amazing details, which perhaps if you saw that thing, in metal, that your eye wouldn't be drawn to it.